All right. So good afternoon once again. My name is Ronald van der Broek, and I'm going to host you through this whole event today. So without further ado, let's start our IP Live sessions here. First of all, I would like to introduce you to the main team here today, my Mimaki colleagues. On the left side, you can see Mark Solman. He is leading the application team at Mimaki Europe. Then you see in the middle, Dana Drion, sitting next to me here today. She's our senior marketing manager, and myself on the right side, I'm responsible for the sales in Mimaki Europe. So the agenda for today, first of all, I'm going to spend roughly 10 to 15 minutes on this introduction. Then from approximately 15:12, we will start the first panel session with some industrial partners. So we have guest speakers from 3A Composites, Trotec Laser, and Brad Martin. They will be introduced more in depth by my colleague Dana. After that, we will send Mark down to show you a live Mimaki showroom tour, covering some applications that are adapted during the last couple of months during the COVID period. And then afterwards, from approximately 1:10, we will start the customer adaptation to COVID-19. We have another two guest speakers for this from Market Tiger and from Scotland's bravest manufacturing company. This will be moderated by Dana again, which will be closed by key takeaways and Q&A at the end. So that's going to be roughly our schedule for today. So some house rules. We're live, so this is not recorded. We're actually here. We're broadcasting on two platforms. One is on YouTube, where we have a live chat functionality, and you can submit questions to us. And we have the GoToWebinar tool, which we are using. It's for covering the live chat. We can submit questions, but on top of that, you can participate actively in opinion polls, which we will be sending out a few to keep it interactive here today. And since we know who you are, you will receive the full follow-up after the event. Now, before everybody starts asking questions, you're all muted. Everybody will. The session will be recorded. You will have the opportunity to look back. You will get the link after the webinar. And as I mentioned before, you can use the chat box to submit questions and the question box in the GoToWebinar tool, which I think will be self-explanatory. If you have any questions at all, feel free to post them during the webinar. We have a full team here that will help you in case you have any difficulties. Now, last thing, we have a functionality in the GoToWebinar. You can select the live broadcast webcam functionality, where you can have an overview of all of us in the full studio here. So, I think if everybody is ready here, we can kick off officially. We've done the house rules, so let's start with the event itself. And to wake up everybody, let's start with the first opinion poll to figure out how that works. And that is a pretty standard question here. To what extent has your business turnover been affected by COVID-19? So let's try if we can get this first opinion poll up and running. Give me a little bit of time here. I can see that once again we are not allowed to participate ourselves. Are we all good? Yeah, let's close it. The first quick poll. Yeah. Let's do it. So it's, I have to say, more balanced out than the previous webinars that we had for sign graphics and for textile. So 17% not affected at all, which is, I think, in industrial market, what we will see and hear more today, the reasons why that is. Decreased by 1 to 25. I think most people are the lucky ones here. We've seen much further reductions of the turnover in sign graphics market and textile market. So let's dig in and see why this is happening here today. I think we are covering this very well. So let's continue presentation here. And remember the results, so we can ask the panelists later on as well for their response on this. Okay, so first of all, this is the last series out of 3. I mentioned already sign graphics and textile market. We've done that before. So we are now covering the industrial market, but what do we actually mean by industrial market? Let's start with that definition first. So within a Mimaki portfolio, we have 4 different business units. It used to be 3. We have added the last one, factory automation, quite recently with the acquisition. So we're not going to go too much in depth about sign graphics, not at all actually. We've covered that part. So it's the industrial, but it has a link to factory automation more or less. We can see this more and more, and perhaps we will hear this in the in the upcoming 2 hours actually that we have this this webinar more in depth. So what does it mean, the industrial products for Mimaki? Now, generally speaking, industrial products it originated from UV technology, printing onto whatever can fit under the print head. That's basically our internal definition here. So what does it mean when we look at products? First of all, very successfully we have launched the Ugf Series, which are small printers mainly used for promotional markets, but also for proofing, for mock-ups, all different applications. I will get back to that a little bit later on. So we have a full lineup in this series, starting from the left side, Ugf 3042 FX, and on the right side, the most precise printer on the market as of today, it's the Ugf 7151 Plus, which has an extreme accuracy and is mainly used for the very high-end applications where accuracy is a must. Then we have a second group. This is where the growth of these customers came. So it's the JFX series. Typically what we see here, sign graphics customers mainly, but we see more and more industrial applications, printing on all kinds of objects, but also promotional customers that are looking for higher productivity have invested in JFX series. And we will cover that later on as well. Then we have a cutting tables. So besides the big flatbed printing machines, our customers also are looking for solutions to produce the packaging, for example, or produce display systems. That's why we have a lineup in cutting systems. And then the last but not least, our last panelist will also discuss about this, is the 3D printing market, which is one of the youngest babies of our family. Starting with the small 3DFF, which is a small desktop printer to make jigs and etc. So it's an FDM printer. Then we go to our first launch of the 3D, which is our 3D full color printer, which will be covered more than enough. So I will not speak about that anymore. And the latest announcement is the 3D GD, which is a very fast printer that can actually print me in full size. So that's pretty big. Now, basically, with UV printing, our slogan is we can print on anything. So all of the objects you can see here can all be printed with either technology of 3D or with our 2D direct-to-object printers here. Now, what does it mean? And when we look at all the applications, the markets, I'm not going to read everything from the screen. You will get a link so you can read perfectly well in which markets we are. But as I mentioned, we can cover almost any kind of market. And usually with UV printing, we say as long as the imagination of the customers are not blocked, we can print whatever they throw at us. So it's really interesting webinar for today. Now, how does the COVID-19 situation, how is it affecting the industrial printing market? I think if you follow the previous webinars, I've explained a bit how Mimaki is dealing with the COVID period in general. So we are looking at a major impact. Recovery comes visible, and what can Mimaki do? Now, we have identified 4 phases. We have an impact phase. I think we have all done that when nobody knew what to do with COVID. It completely changes the market. It completely changes the purchase behavior of our customers. And so we were all surprised with the severeness of this pandemic. So number two, with withstanding this impact. So what can we do? What are the first things that we are going to do to make sure that our company, but also the dealers and our end users can withstand the impact? I think most of it we have done right now. What we're currently looking at is how can we return to a normal situation / new situation, because we are not done. So I think that we more and more have to accept the fact that we have to deal with the new situation here. How long it's going to take, who knows? But the market is changing, and there's very big opportunities for digital printing within this market. Last but not least, it's the new industry dynamics. So what really happened with our customers? There will be some early adapters. We will be speaking to partners today about new things that we're seeing in the market, how our panelists have been dealing with this, and what are the requirements, what are the new dynamics of the market, and how can we adapt to this. So those are the 4 phases that we identify. We're currently in phase number 3/4, dealing with both at the same time. Now, as come for buying behavior of customers, we have done some research here as well. What did change in the buying behavior of customers? Reducing risk of overstock. I think it's a no-brainer that a lot of companies have been, including Mimaki Europe itself as well. We have all been dealing with overstock, with stock that was on the way, stock is still sitting in the warehouses. How can we deal with this in an efficient way? But also at the other side, how can we help our customers to survive in this period? We have done some tricks as well for our overstock to help our customers, and we will explain at the end today as well. What we definitely see, especially in IP market, and that's why I'm not surprised to see the first poll that we have done, that almost half of our customers is hardly affected by the impact, let's say, of the pandemic. We have seen very fast order to delivery. Everybody needed to have protection, screens, signage, whatever, and a lot of it is printed directly onto objects. So it will be no surprise that the poll showed this result, and I'm sure it will be no surprise when we go to the first panel discussion to hear how this affected their business. Faster reorder process that we can see as well. What has been ordered has to be repeat ordered pretty much within a week, within 2 weeks. So we've seen a huge increase there. A third thing is customization / localization. Everything suddenly had to be custom made. Now, this cannot be done in conventional technologies. Of course, we all know this. In digital printing, it's nothing new. But you will be surprised how many customers have approached us with questions like, can you do this? Where for us, it's a no-brainer. Of course, we can do it. So we had to help customers to educate them, to customize specific signage, for example, for Corona, or routing through buildings, or to do floor stickers or whatever. And it had to be localized suddenly. It has to be localized in specific languages to make sure that all people were informed. That means in our company, it has to be in Dutch, it has to be in English. So those are the languages that we don't have Japanese, by the way, but maybe that's an idea for the next time. But localization was a very important aspect of this. And last but not least, and this is a bit of the connected to point 4 of the 4 phases, the new industry dynamics, we have to improve the production efficiency. After every major crisis, and by no means I would like to compare the pandemic that we have right now with the Lehman shock or the banking crisis in 2007, but what we always see in or after period of crisis, that people will start looking at their full route to market, from order to delivery. Can we save money somewhere? I spoke about overstock, but automizing, factory automation, it has a link, as I mentioned at the beginning, especially to IP products. So improving production efficiency is, besides the measures that people have to take in their organizations, is definitely something on the agenda as of today. Can we improve efficiency? and can we adapt and save cost on our complete route to market. I hope that gives you a little bit of insight. This will be a little bit the red line through all the panel discussions, the presentations today. How do we deal with these situations and with these points? So I think that's my 15 minutes. I took a little bit longer, but I would like to introduce my colleague Donna and Mark. They will be leading the panel discussion with our industry partners, and will introduce our first panelist to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ronald. Thank you very much. Welcome the panel discussion with the industrial partners. We are very pleased to have three major players in the market in our panel session. We have from Germany, we have 3A Composites, Trotec Laser from Austria, and from UK, Brad Martin. I would like to introduce them to you. Haidar Siches from 3A Composite, could you please introduce yourself and introduce the company?
Yeah, hi there. My name is Haidar Siches. I'm a sales manager at 3A Composite. I'm working at 3A Composite Display now for 18 years now. I'm living in Germany and I have 3 children. 3A Composite Europe is an international division of the 3A Composite Group, which is a part of Schweiter Technologies. We are one of the leading manufacturers of sheet materials for the field and the market of visual communication. Together with our partners or with our colleagues at Polycasa and on Perspex.
Thank you, very clear. Thank you. From Austria, Alexander from Trotec, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes.
Hi, Alexander.
Hello. Hello to the Netherlands. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for having me on the panel. My name is Alexander Jauka. I'm from Trotec Laser Austria. I'm head of strategic marketing at Trotec and leading the group of product managers and product marketing managers. And we are bringing our great product ideas to the market and do the go-to-market. I've been now with Trotec for 13 years and living here in beautiful Upper Austria. A little bit about Trotec as a company. We're a leading manufacturer of laser systems for marking, cutting, and engraving for sign shops, the signage industry, display makers, but also educational business like schools, universities, and industrial customers. As a company, we're now 25 years, almost old, founded in 1996, and we have 19 subsidiaries all across the world. Our mission is to make the laser users' work simpler, faster, and more profitable, and we do this for our customers all around the world.
Thank you, Alexander. Going overseas to Brad Martin, Duncan Smith, could you please introduce yourself?
Hello,
Hi, Duncan.
Thanks for having me. My name's Duncan Smith of Brett Martin, and I'm the Global Sales Director for Plastic Sheets. I've been in the plastics industry for over 30 years, studied plastics at university, and the last 22 years I've been the Sales Director for Brett Martin Plastic Sheets. Currently working from my home in Liverpool, but normally I would spend half of my time in our factory in Northern Ireland near Belfast. We have factories in Northern Ireland and in England, but we sell our product around the world. We have three main strands of the business. One is our roofing plastics side, which involves multi-wall polycarbonate and corrugated polycarbonate and PVC sheet. And then we have our semi-finished side, which involves products that the Mimaki customers might know, things like Foamolux, foam PVC, solid polycarbonate, acrylic, APET, and PETG. And sell those products around the world through our different distribution partners in all the continents.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you. Yeah, you win with the longest working years for a company. So let's start with the first question with you. What is the impact of the current COVID situation on your business? How have you needed to adapt?
Well, yeah, it hit us like a real roller coaster, like everybody at the beginning. Not quite sure what to do. Of course, the first priority was the safety of our employees, making sure that everybody that was working within the company was safe to come to work. Those that could work at home, mainly my team in sales, were make sure that they could effectively work at home. But most importantly, those people that had to come in and keep the factories going and in the office, that they were safe. It was. I mean, then we had to decide, sort of what products were most important. I mean, we got swamped very early on for the huge demand for the thin plastic sheets for face visors, and then the thicker plastic sheets, the transparent sheets for the screen guard protections. So it was very clear that our product was needed, and within a few months, we were almost in sold out situations. So we had to make sure which customers were still going that we could ship them to, which countries were still open that they could be shipped to, how we used transport effectively and so forth. And yes, it was one by one the different factories that we've got back going and starting off producing the products that were most in demand to fight the COVID virus.
Yeah, very clear. Very good. Haidar, what is the situation at 3i Composites? And
yes, also for us, our company first implemented production and administrative regulations to protect us from COVID. Most of all had no or hardly no experience in home office concepts or production guidelines like safety distances, but these all regulations were implemented very fast. Together with hand sanitizer and dispensers. On the business side, we had a very explosive increase in clear sheets for corona protection items. And also on the other hand, we faced a sales decrease for the opaque sheets, for the non-transparent sheets. This meant a dramatic decrease of printing jobs and projects in the market. So what did we do? We asked our colleagues from production and slow-moving plants to help the fast production plants to meet the high demand for the production items. On the sales side, on the commercial side, we developed webinar concepts, conference calls, web meetings. This was all new for us, or quite new for us, but we developed those concepts. And from the product management sides, we used materials from other plants for some parts for corona protection items or displays, which were used against COVID.
Yeah, clear. As 3i Composites and Brett Martin are producing the sheets, Alexander, Trotec is finishing the sheets. What is the impact on the current situation at Trotec company?
Mm-hmm. Exactly, we're finishing the materials you make. Well, it was very, very similar. Definitely a new situation for us where no one had really experience managing such a crisis. Again, we had to make sure that the employees, the staff is safe. So we had to implement all the regulations, disinfection equipment, distancing, especially in production. But where possible, we switched, of course, to home office. That was possible in marketing and so on. Where we suffered a bit was definitely on the sales side, because it's very important to be with the customer in front of the machine and show him what he can do with the laser. So we also had to switch this approach to a virtual approach here and doing virtual demos and so on. And we had to accommodate ourselves with that. In April, we shut it down, the production, for 1 week, but it really came back very, very early, very quickly. And you will see it then later when we talk about the applications, why it did come back very very fast. At first, we painted a dark picture, talking to ourselves and saying who is going to buy now capital equipment. But we saw new applications rising, and our customers switched just the applications. They were very creative, came up with new ideas, how to change their business model, and quickly adapted. And luckily, we came back very, very fast. And now we are happy with the situation, and we're at the same level turnover-wise as we were last year. So the recovery was very, very fast here.
It's good to hear. Maybe the second question from.
So, just asking also in terms of marketing, how do you promote your products in this difficult time during COVID? I already heard you, Heide, talking about digital marketing, webinars. I'm just wondering, Duncan, how do you promote your products in this from a marketing perspective?
Yes, we've probably been more active in social media than we ever have before. It is more difficult, obviously, to go out and send photographers out in these sort of conditions and so forth. So we're using sort of customer photography, and if anybody comes across a clever idea, whether it's our material or not, if it's a clever solution to using our kind of materials in some sort of corona protection application, then we'll sort of post it and make sure all our customers can see it, and they can get busy doing it. We did put out special pamphlets, special brochure. It's called Plastics Protecting People. It was really to help our customers and our customers in material selection. What were the best products to use for these face visors that were suddenly needed everywhere? What are the best products to use for the screens that are needed for cladding projects and so forth? I mean, the how to clean the products as well. So all of this has gone on, of course, sort of on social media, on our website, and obviously exhibitions have come to a complete halt. So we've not been attending any of those, of course, but looking forward to when they start next year, not just for our customers' sake, but also to promote our products.
Yeah, sure. So talking about demand, right? Because that's what you're already mentioning a little bit. Like, have you seen any increase of demand of certain products or specific sectors? And let me start with you, Heide, on that.
Yeah, I already mentioned the big demand in corona protection items, displays like mask viziers, yeah, or displays, counter displays, post-pop displays, seeing these pictures in the background. Yeah, this was an explosive demand from one week to another, and just like I said, we needed to be creative, but because on a certain moment lines were more than full. People were working hours and hours to get the material out of the factory. So, like I said, we did two things. We asked colleagues from other plants to help out in the other plants, and we made, if you look to that pictures, we tried to tell the people, be more creative. You don't have to have 100% clear material in a display. Try to make out the frames or the feeds out of other materials, which we have. And they did so, yeah. And there were a lot of nice projects and examples where people are more than creative, yeah, to fight against COVID.
Okay. What about you, Alexander? Mm-hmm. What is your opinion?
Yeah, we have pretty much the same pictures like Heide has as we are finishing the sheets here. Business-wise, you can really say in every crisis there is an opportunity, and our customers took it the same way. They tried to adapt, very entrepreneurial here. And I talked to a signage and display company, and they told me they had 800% increase in their work during the COVID crisis. And these are the new applications here, yeah? The protective walls, as you can see here,
Yeah,
the face
I can see it.
mask, be made out of fabric or PET. And very funny, the first application was really developed in one of the first weeks of March. It was a door opener made out of acrylic, cut out of acrylic from a university in the UK. And that showed immediately that the people adapt, try new things, and try to deal in a creative, entrepreneurial way with the crisis here.
Yeah, that's a very nice application. I'm quite sure that we see it later with a few customers. If we go to the next question, what do you think the key trends will be for the rest of the year? Do you see any sectors that maybe see some growth, Duncan?
Well, of course, the printing for sign and display, as your previous polls and so forth have shown, has been very, very low. With the exhibition sector completely wiped out. So of course there will be growth in that because it's coming from a very low base. We are seeing the second phase, or maybe even the third phase of the crisis, of course, where restaurants and businesses are opening, and the owners want to encourage people back. So at the moment, they may be presented with very sterile, sort of safe environments with the plastic screens and so forth. I think one of the trends, and we're trying to push this, is to make those more attractive. And this is where your customers can come in with the printers. Sort of all of these products that we're talking about, of course, can be printed, and they don't have to be sort of monolithic, sort of white or clear. They can be printed, and to make it safe but attractive, more aesthetically pleasing, to encourage people to come back to work. Lots of opportunities for sponsors to sort of whether it be drinks companies in restaurants or sort of suppliers in different businesses, to sort of get their names up on these new sort of plastic screens and so forth. We've seen evidence of that, and also the use of pattern and sort of pattern and color in again making these environments more attractive to welcome customers back, to welcome people back to work as well.
Yeah.
Just another thing that we've seen is a growth in our antimicrobial products. We have various PVC products that have got use silver ion technology to counteract sort of microbes and bacteria. There's been an obvious, normally they're only used in medical applications, but there's been an obvious growth in those. And something maybe more interesting for again your printer customers would be the one of our coating suppliers, a company called Peerless in England. They actually have an antimicrobial coating that they can put on sheet. For example, you could reverse print a clear sheet and then put a coating on the other side.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Okay. So and these have been tested with similar coronaviruses, not the human one, but obviously you can't test on that at the moment. But and they have shown to be quite effective.
Yeah, Haidar, before the pandemic, sustainability was a hot topic. Are people still looking for ways to support the environment, even after the virus or during?
Yeah, before the crisis, it was a very, very, very hot topic. Yeah, it slowed a little bit down because people were in the COVID mood. They had the other problems to solve. But we see that this topic stays a big topic in the mindset of not only processors, distributors, but also end users. And this will still be one of the most important topics for the next years in my eyes.
Yeah. And Alexander, have you seen any unexpected boost in your company if you look at Trotec?
Well, considering now the end of the year coming, I would be very happy to have a good answer where we'll head to in terms of business. Do we have a new normal, or do we come back to the old normal? situation. I think this year still it will be driven by new applications coming out of COVID, so protective walls, new hygienic products which will need branding and laser finishing, and also extra signage that's driving the business. What is a little bit unclear is the hospitality sector. It's a big driver for our customers' business here. And when will it come back and really increase the demand? Where we definitely see a opportunity is in online personalization and customization. Online retail, online sales is definitely the way to go in the future, was before COVID, and COVID boosted this here. And for our products, it's very important to integrate in a all digital, full digital workflow here, and that's the direction where we want to lead and go in the future.
Do you think those trends will stay after the pandemic, Duncan? What is your opinion about that?
Yeah, I think there's going to be for sure more use of hygienic screens, maybe not as brutal as the ones that we see in the shops today, but I think yes, they will probably sort of last into the future and remain. For sure the home working and the digitalization of everything, of course, as people find that more convenient. I mean, we're now doing our shopping online. You never used to do it online before, grocery shopping. So I think things like that, things that people have found easy, like your sales director said at the begining, things change in these kind of crises, and they sometimes change permanently. There'll be things that go back. I mean, for example, one of the key trends that I forgot to mention before was that we're seeing people looking for harder, easier to clean surfaces. Now, so plastic sheets suits that quite well, as opposed to sort of porous materials that are made from wood or fabric, that sort of thing. And again, your customers, the printers, can print the hard plastic surfaces to mimic whatever they need to look like. So I think yes, some of these will last forever, but they will be more aesthetically pleasing and and probably be better for it.
Okay. So I think we are going to opinion poll, as we slightly already discussed the sustainability part, right? So I think this is still an important concern in our business. So I'm just wondering how the audience thinks about it. So let's do a poll. Is sustainability still an important concern in your business during this crisis? And I give the audience 20 seconds to vote. And I'm curious, right? What do you think, Alexander? What will be the outcome you think the most percentages will get? Can you see already the possible answers? I think we've got the opportunity to say, yes, it's still as important, or yes, it's going to be more important than ever, or no, it shows less important. I'm very curious what the percentage would be. Let's see. Of course, we cannot vote, right? Unfortunately, but I'm curious to see what comes out of it.
Yeah, same here. I'm very curious. I don't know, maybe less important during the crisis, but we'll come back later. I don't know.
Let's see, right? Yeah. So it takes a long time. So yes, we've got it here. Yes. Now, as being said already, right? It's still very important for the audience. So that will something that definitely will stay. And even in this crisis, we are still thinking about sustainability. I think that is important for us, for all of us to know. And it's good to understand this, and we can take that in consideration with our production. So moving on. So how do you help your customers seize new opportunities and overcome challenges during our current situation? I think, Alexander, start with you.
Well, we try to be there for our customers. I think that's the most important thing, to be a good partner. And in our case, what we do is we started this very early in the crisis to show them these new opportunities, what they can do with the laser, even when some part of the business is declining, the demand is declining for standard signage or whatever. We try to show them new opportunities here, providing them with files, how to cut certain things, the face masks, for example, templates, advice them on materials, on laser parameters, to help them change their business model. And one important lab, so a place where you can go and use machines, rent out machines, you pay an annual fee, then you can use the machines there. They had to, of course, shut down, so nobody was allowed to go there and use the machines. But what they did, they started to produce the face masks, what you can see in the picture here. And when they opened up again, they continued this business. So they even were able to increase their business with this new application, which then stayed or still stays after the crisis then, or this lockdown phase here. So that's what we try to do, be there for the customer, be there a good partner, advise them, and size these opportunities here.
Duncan, what about you? How are you guys helping your customers into new opportunities?
Yeah, well, it is a frustrating period when us as salespeople can't actually go and visit our customers. So of course, this all is that's hence the use, much more use of social media and video conferencing. Yes, we've been involved with in training sessions with our customers. Using similar technology to this, webinars, where they're sort of where we're speaking to big quantities of their own people or their customers. So we're doing that. Again, like I've mentioned before, any applications where we can see a clever use of material, especially where, I mean, in 2 months, in April and May, we basically sold out of our transparent material for the year. We had to sort of try and suggest clever ways of using other materials to do the same thing, as the acrylic and polycarbonate, all the transparent materials were sold out. So in fact, some of our roofing products, like the multi-wall polycarbonate, we were trying to sort of come up with ways that could be used instead, and to do the same sort of thing. Again, just encouraging any ideas that we could to help achieve the same thing. One thing I haven't mentioned is, and it just cross over a little bit with the printers, looking at your graphic where you can print on anything, is on the roofing side of our business. I mean, there's been a massive DIY boom. The DIY, the home project kind of industry. Those stores have been open throughout in most countries, and they've been sold out of so many things. So the corrugated sheets, the transparent corrugated sheets, the transparent multi-wall sheets, again, they've been big quantities have been ordered as people have been at home doing projects at home, working on their home while they've been staying at home, either furloughed or working from home. And so there's been a huge increase there. So yes, so lots of opportunities, but only really in the protection business.
Yeah, clear.
And Heider, what is your idea around that?
What we did and we still are doing. What we did and we're still doing, we're encouraging our customers to go into new markets, new applications, using their equipments, using their machineries, in a different way. This is one part. The second part is just like Ronald in the beginning said, we help our customers to be more efficient, to save costs in their today's processing or supply chain management, using in particular the USPs of our products. Just to give you an example, a normal printer actually prints on our products like Forex and Debond, yeah, has not enough work. I encourage him to go into the photo book album using a product of us which has a hinge effect, our product Highlight. In the past, he ever heard about that, yeah, but he had not the time to use it or try to be around. And now the first order in the photo book album came, yeah. Second thing is, second example is take a product from our line, which is this bar, yeah, which stays stays flat on the UV printing machines. Comparing it against a normal corrugated board, yeah, and you see that your stops of the machine, yeah, will eliminate, and you save costs, yeah, on claims and stops times in your printing machines. So you save costs on the other end. Be more efficient, yeah. This we help our customers to improve their situation.
Yeah, those are some good examples for helping your customers. How does the government support you? If you look in Austria, like Alexander.
Mm-hmm. Well, just recently, the government started a funding program where you get a certain percentage from the state here when you invest in equipment which is related to digitalization, digital transformation. And luckily our products go in this direction. So when a customer approaches us, we also help him during the application process here, and that additionally gives a boost to the business now for fall. And we really appreciated this move from the state to make clever and good investments in the businesses of our citizens here, and to support this digital shift also with this funding here during the crisis.
Any other regions? How is that working with you, Duncan, over there? Any government support?
Not as directly as that. I mean, I guess like most governments, our government has been helping companies keep people at home and paying the majority of their salary while they're not working at home. Believe that that phase of government help is coming to an end now. There's been various help for small businesses, sort of VAT holidays, things like that. And I guess that the thing that's affected our industry a lot is really trying to encourage people to go out to restaurants and eat, and
it's important,
get people working. I mean, they're busy trying to get things back to normal, but of course, the population is not necessarily following them. But it's a mixed response.
Hyder, in your regions?
Yeah, I can speak for Germany. The German government has a salary compensation program, yeah, which they help us for people who have not, or companies who have not enough work, yeah, still are getting paid 70%, 80% of their salaries, yeah. They help it with these kind of projects, funds, yeah, to get the companies moving on and not staying at the salaries on the costs by themselves.
Thank you, very clear. We have a few minutes, 8 minutes, so let's go to
I think as we are live, right, and my colleague here next door is Mark. Mark, I think the best time for you now is go straight to the showroom now, and I will take care of the Q&A session with Ronald next to me, because as we are live, you need to prepare yourself for the showroom tour. So I'm going to tune into Ronald. Ronald, I saw a lot of questions coming in already during this interesting panel discussion. So do you have any questions selected for the panel audience that we would like to discuss now with the team here, as Mark is jumping to the showroom now?
Yes, for sure. Let me share my webcam again. Hello, welcome back. Yeah, one of very interesting one, and I think is for all of you. What was the most important lesson that you have learned personally from the last couple of months, from this new pandemic period? Let's say, what is it? Or it's too early to ask this question?
No. Maybe I start.
Feel free. Whoever is ready to answer.
The biggest lesson is that you can't predict or you can't calculate this kind of things, and everything has to be the first time. So I'm working now for the company since 20 years, and I had a lot of problems appeared, and you can tackle that. We already mentioned the financial crisis in 2007. This was a real big impact. Yeah. But this one was again another dimension. And also my colleagues who are working for 30, 40 years already in the company, yeah, they never have seen something similar before. Yeah. And it was very, very interesting to see how your own company is adapting very fast in new situations. It was really within hours and days we implemented new things, yeah, new ways, yeah, which we normally take more time for it. This was the biggest lesson which we learned.
Yeah, I've seen similar things here happening in Mimaki as well. So Duncan, anything to add to this? Or you have a completely different lesson?
Yeah, no, similar experience. I mean, I think you know, we're a company of sort of 800 odd people, but a privately owned company. I think we are able to make decisions quite quickly, and I think that's really helped us respond quickly. You know, that is quite normal for us, if you like, in sort of. But of course, normally those decisions do take place in sort of meetings where people are physically together. Of course, it does take some adjustment to. You know, this is you know, we didn't really use much sort of you know, sort of web meetings, that sort of thing before. I mean, yes, we the different sites that we operate, we have, you know, sort of good you know, sort of webcam sort of meetings between those sites. But in terms of sort of normal meetings and meetings with customers, that has taken some time to adjust. But as I say, it's the quickness of decision making, I think, that's been really important, and that's why we've been able to adjust quickly and adapt to, you know, what the customers need, which is, you know, thousands of tons of transparent material at the moment.
Okay. Alexander, what about you?
Yeah, I see it very much similar. It was really amazing to see how we as a company and everybody was pulling so hard, and everybody was so flexible, and this adjusting to a new situation came so quickly, and things you were discussing a topic since months or years even were done very, very quickly in like days or weeks, and this was such a sudden change, and everybody was so open and pulling hard to make things happen. And I think this was also to some extent a success factor to be where we are at the moment, that the whole team, the whole company was on and working so hard. So everybody pulled here very strongly. And this was amazing and fascinating to see, this adapting to a new situation and staying together very strong here. Okay,
thank you very much. I think it's speaking for Mimaki, since we're a bit involved in the panel discussion here. It's pretty much similar. We have been being a company, we communicate a lot with local offices and with headquarters. So we are quite used to having events, let's say digital, or meetings digital, but this increased a lot. And I think also in our company, we have changed very rapidly to home office business model. So it's, I can relate to everything you're saying. That also for us, it has been the most important lesson. And I think also, if it continues, or maybe it ends, but we are more ready for a next event. Who knows if we will, if a new pandemic will come in the near future. It's a good learning school, I think, for all of us, how to deal with this. I have to look at my colleagues. Is Mark already downstairs?
I think marketing is almost ready. I see a lot of questions coming in from YouTube as well. I think I'm just slightly looking into one that is being mentioned many times before. So let's end up with one last question from YouTube audience and then we move quickly to my colleague in the showroom. So which 3A PVC foam board is most suitable for UF printing? I think that is quite interesting as well to ask to the panel audience, especially you guys are here now, so we've got the opportunity. So maybe Duncan, you can start, really give me a little bit of an understanding for that.
So what was the question exactly again?
Oh, sorry.
Please give it to Heider.
Okay, so which PVC foam board is most suitable for the UV printing? One of you guys could hopefully answer that question. Heider, probably you can do that.
Well, Heider and I would probably disagree on
different opinions.
Because it is really a question for 3A composers.
Let's remove the 3A PVC, then let's remove the 3A and have a general.
I try to really make it more general, but of course we are curious to hear from you, Heider, as well.
Yes, for sure. We have, as a leading foam PVC suppliers, are still proud and are very proud of on our product called Forex. We have a very, very nice range on that product. Yeah, and we have 3 different types. Yeah, first type is Forex Classics, which is nowadays more used in industrial applications. And then we have 2 printing products. First one is Forex Print, and the more economical one is the Forex Lite. It depends on which kind of machine you have, what the processing is. So if we are speaking about a printing application, I would always use and recommend Forex Print and Forex Lite. Not to forget is our second range of foam PVCs, and which is the Foamolite product. Yeah. There we also have 3 different types of products, but for the printing industry, I would really recommend Foamolite Express.
Okay.
And you're going to have to let me mention my products as well.
Sure. Go ahead.
So our range is the Foamolux range, where we have the heavier density Foamolux products, and then the lighter density Foamolux Lite. So they're they can be printed on all the different types of flatbed technology, and a range of colors and recycled products, and from 1 millimeter up to 30 millimeter. So the complete range of foam PVC products as well from Brett Martin.
Great. So guys, I think we
have commercial break now, so at least we have to give Alexander the possibility now to advise us which equipment we should use to cut those.
Well, may I add something here? Duncan and Heider,
yes.
Do you have the polystyrene-based foam board, because PVC is no good for cutting with a laser?
No, but we don't have a polystyrene foam board, Alexander, but we are the leading manufacturer of a polyurethane foam board. And the new development for you, which is cuttable by your competitor, is Dispa.
Dispa is great. Yeah, Dispa, we love Dispa. So that's a great product. All right, I take Dispa.
Okay.
Yes.
We will find a solution in any case, right?
So Jens, I just want to take the opportunity to thank you for your participation today. It was really an interesting, dynamical session with all of you. So again, from our side, thank you very much. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. And I'm going to see if my colleague Mark is already available in the showroom. So let's have a brief look if he's ready. But in case I don't talk to you anymore, I wish you all a great day, and thanks again. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. Have a nice day.
Likewise.
Are we live? Welcome at Mimaki Europe in Amsterdam. This is the head office for the EMEA region. The facility is responsible for demonstration, sampling, testing, and training our partners. As Mimaki is an innovative company, we were the first with UV flatbed, and we were also the first with UV LED technology. Let's start with the UV flatbed machines, the Ugf 7151 series. Let's have a look at Rens. Hi Rens.
Hey Mark.
What are you printing?
Yeah, we are printing and testing our new braille function on the Rasterlink with the 7151 for people that has blindness or bad eyesight. So in this case, people really can feel and read it using multiple layers with clear liquid. So
we have 3 machines. Could you tell the audience why we have 3 UGF 7151s?
Yeah, sure. We have 3 machines, so because we have got different types of ink, mostly in flexibility. So we have the LH100, the hard ink, for mostly like glass, metals, hard plastics. We have the LOS120, it's more all-round ink, so we can suitable for all types of applications. And we have the LOS350, it's a highly flexible ink for thermoforming.
Do we have an example of the thermoforming?
Yes. So we created a print with our Mimaki 3D FF222, and you can see it's just printed on PET film, and afterwards it's thermoformed in a 3D shape.
Okay, now moving to the A2 and A3 size, the UGF MK2 series. Let's have a look at the machines. Hi Martijn, what are you printing on the Ugf series?
Hi Mark, we are printing here promotional items, like now we are printing pens, laying in a 3D printed jig, so we can personalize pens and other objects.
So the machine is made for the promotional industry. We can also print 360 degrees.
Yes, we can also print cylindrical objects with a kebab option from 1 centimeter to 11 centimeters diameter.
Very nice, very nice. Let's have a look at Jordi, how we create the 3D jig. Hi Jordi, this machine is creating the 3D jig. Could you tell a little bit about the machine?
Yeah, for sure. This is the 3D FF222. It's a FDM machine which can print filaments like PLA. So right here you can see the jig we are using on the 3042 with the pens. And we also made some COVID-19 tools like this little door opener, so you don't touch the doorknob. This machine can print up to 20 by 20 by 20 centimeters, so it's a small desktop 3D printer.
And apart from this machine, we can also print full color in 3D.
Yeah, we also have a full color machine, that's the 3D UJ553. And we have a lot of colorful samples over here. As you can see, we can print full color figurines. We have some medical samples, and of course also some nice prototypes, product prototypes. So with this machine you can print up to 10 million colors, and the build table is 50 by 50 by 30 centimeters. I just finished a 3D figurine model, as you can see here. What you can see here is that the model is fully covered in support material, and it's water washable. So the only thing you need to do is to put it into like warm water, and all the support material will dissolve.
And is this our biggest 3D printer, Jordi?
We also have a bigger machine, and it's on the other side of the showroom. It's the 3D GD 1800. So let's have a look over there.
Oh, I see that my colleague Pim is busy with the JFX series. Let's have a look. So we have the JFX 500, which is a 6 printhead machine. Then the JFX 200 2531L, and our latest UV machine, the JFX 200 EX. Hi Pim. Hey Mark, what are you printing?
Now we are printing on acrylic plexiglass boards for our reception in our office. Printing with instructions of the COVID. On the other machines we are printing kappa and some other papers.
Very nice. So we are at the Mimaki 3D GD 1800. Jordi, could you explain a little bit about the machine to the audience?
Yeah, for sure. This machine can print up to 1.8 meters, so it's one of the biggest machines we have around the world at this moment. It can print really fast. For instance, if you have like a cylindrical object of 1 meter, it can print in height 35 centimeters an hour. And with this machine, it's a perfect combination with the other technologies from Mimaki, like for instance, like printing on vinyl, like a wrap foil. So next to the printer, we have some samples, finished samples. They are all post-processed. So like this tube, it's having a shrink foil, and the ice cream, as you can see there, is having a car wrap foil.
Very nice. So that was our tour. Let's get back to the studio for the webinar.
So that was interesting, right, Ronald? A really nice tour. I like the ice cream for sure.
Nice to see the applications now. Indeed.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think we're going to move forward to the customer adoption part, right? So I'm very delighted and happy to announce our panelist for today. So first of all, Michael de Wit, owner of Marketiger. So welcome, Michael. I'm very delighted to have you here. Can you please introduce yourself and give us a little bit of an understanding of your company?
Very much so. So thank you for having me today. So my name is Michael. I'm the owner of Marketiger, founded 1.5 years ago. Busy with full color 3D printing, adapting Mimaki's 3D UJ 553. Delighted to be here. Thank you.
So Michelle, welcome. Can you introduce yourself and your company as well?
Yeah, thank you. Like Michael, I'm absolutely delighted to be here. I'm Michelle Ferguson. I'm the director of Scotland's bravest manufacturing company. We're a social enterprise and charity, and we employ veterans and others with disabilities. We also are a sign manufacturer, and we produce commercial and industrial signage.
Great. I'm looking forward to hear more from your company. So let's move quickly into the first question. So how did COVID-19 actually affect your business, and how is the situation now? And let me start with ladies first. So Michelle, how is that working over there in your company? Can you explain us a little bit what the situation is there?
Yeah, it was pretty shocking. I think it took everyone around the world by storm, and we had to make some very fast, important decisions because we have employed people with underlying health conditions. We closed down very quickly with the support of our board and our whole community at large. During that close down period, we kept 3 people employed, myself being one of them, operations and business development. And we looked at what we had to do to get back up and running very quickly. So we changed the factory, put in new adaptations, moved our machinery around, and put in new cleaning areas, more sinks for washing, put in new regulations, new factory standards for physical distancing, so that it was a safe environment to return to work. During that time, we also then started to look at, what we should be doing when we returned. Most of our business at that stage was infrastructure signage, and although projects were still going ahead, they were very slow and very limited. And we knew that our clients would also be looking for other products so that they could return to work safely. We'd invest a lot of time looking at, what messaging would have to be involved for COVID-19 for us. And we'd looked around the market and spoken to different organisations, global companies, people in China, and who'd been there first, and in Europe, what were the messages there, key messages, so that we were prepared in advance. So once we started looking at how we printed that and what our needs were, we then thought, what's next? And started looking at the future and what we should be doing there, and started looking at direct print options and specialist cutting options. And that's why we started talking to Mimaki.
Did you at least have encountered specific unique challenges that you had to overcome because of the fact that you are a non-profit social enterprise?
Yeah, I think the most unique thing was our employees are quite diverse. We've got people in wheelchairs. We had Gary, who's a triple amputee, who works for us. So we had to be very, very careful about the return to work and how we made it a safe environment. So it wasn't just a walkthrough for, sort of what would it be like for somebody walking down a corridor that was less than 2 meters. You then had to think of what if that person was in a wheelchair, sort of where were the distances that you could, sort of hazard areas, sort of where people could be coming out 2 doors and wouldn't be able to see each other. Now, we'd already made massive adaptations within the factory, sort of self-opening doors that you could use your elbow to open or your hands. So, but we had to put more in practice and really consider that and look at all levels, what messaging at different levels. These should be standard practice in every working environment anyway, but we rethought everything through. So our, we've got automatic sinks, sort of for washing hands. We've got sinks with, that you can adjust with your elbows now. It's been challenging, but yeah, I think it is something that other people can learn from.
No, I can imagine. I totally I can. So Michael, can you give us a little bit of an understanding how it was working at your company, Mimaki?
Yeah, very much so. I think it was quite the same as what Michelle already described. At the start, it was quite a chaos, so nobody pretty much knew what we should do. Pretty much the first week when the news came in that businesses were closing and things were going bad, we started discussing with our campus management on what we could do to at least keep people working. So we started to think of how we could split our production teams to make sure that there was only one person in the office while operating the machines, making sure that hands are sanitized, doors are opening handless, things like that. But yeah, it was quite a disaster that some clients needed to shut down. So whether it was on the business side or on the client side, a lot of things went a lot different as what they were before. So once we got that all set up, we were actually safe to keep it going until further notice, because at the first place there was no regulations or nothing was going on. So we kept on going. Our current production was just so the client orders were just coming in, so that was not the problem. The problem was more on how we could do that safely. So it was quite how Michelle described, taking precautions to make sure that everyone is safe at work. Yeah, obviously taking into account some business we obviously needed to let go, but still focus on how we could make this work in our advantage instead of making this go the bad way for us as a business.
Any specific impact in the 3D market, Michael?
Yeah, so in the start, you saw, a lot of companies that have things to do with 3D printing were moving towards rapid prototyping solutions for medical applications. So as you could see, worldwide stocks of all kinds of small plastic parts were going down. Governments were looking for ways to keep that in their own country, so to make sure they have a stable flow of parts they would need to, for example, test people. So we quite advised some companies in that part, just on prototyping, because we felt that the way that we use our 3D printers was not a medical application way to put in a machine. But at least we were able to help and see if we could help them at least with designing, making sure that the design was right, and then move on to serial productions. So yeah, I think a lot of 3D printing companies have assisted in making parts for medical applications, which was very interesting because it was something that the 3D market has never experienced before.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, right? Like I'm also curious, like if the audience today that is listening, if and that's why I put an opinion poll in there, is the organization use of 3D technology, right? Let's have a look at our audience for today. If they've got 20 seconds, what do you think, Michael? What kind of types do we've got on board today? Do you think they make use already of the technology, or you don't know? Maybe they look already into possibilities. What do you think that will be the biggest percentage today?
I think everyone knows, or a lot of people now know, that 3D printing can be a huge benefit to all kinds of companies. But I'm not very sure whether they say we're already doing it, or whether they're moving towards, yes, we are going to, but we don't know when. Obviously, 3D printing is still in a stage where we are pretty fresh. So yeah, very curious to the answers.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Let's give them a couple of seconds more, and then we hopefully have the outcome, so we can.
Just in following up this answer, Michael, what do you think is the biggest hurdle for companies to invest in 3D today?
That's a good question. I think that applications are very hard, so and limited. So the applications that you can do with 3D printing are something completely new, and like the bigger companies mostly test those things on a low level, so inside of their own companies, and once it's working, they start investing and moving up to the public. So I think that there's a lot more 3D printing going on within companies than we actually know about. But obviously, application sides are very hard. So I think that is the reason why people might not invest in 3D printing at this point.
Okay. So let's see what the answers are. We get okay, here we have it on the screen. So yeah, a lot of people make use of it already, 30%, but looking in possibility, 39%, and no, we do not invest in 3D in the near future. So we've got a quite mixed audience today, Michael. That is interesting, right? So yeah.
But then I think we need to focus on the last 30% who don't have any intent and to explain better. So
for sure.
Marketing-wise, there's a lot to do.
We've got a lot of work to do, that's for sure. So
I think if you would ask this question 10 years ago, it would have been a totally different one. So at least we're taking some steps.
Yeah. So moving on to the next question, how have you adapted your business to the COVID-19 situation? And then Michelle, I'm really keen of looking forward. How is that working over there with Scotland Bravest?
You know, it was great. Like Michael, we could have made the decision to sit back and say, well, we'll just stick to the same as, but exactly the same as Michael did. We thought, let's make the best of this. You know, we need to change and adapt, and we slightly pivoted our business. We had a very, very old Mimaki printer, which had been donated to us from one of our competitors, which was incredibly kind and incredibly generous, but they wanted us to succeed. And it was a printer that would have gone to landfill, and they thought, let's pass it on to a company that will use it and do good things. So we knew the quality, even though it was an old workhorse and it had been around for a very long time. So we thought, right, okay, let's look at what we can offer. And we spoke to a number of our clients and said, if we were to supply, you know, COVID-19 signage, would that help you? And absolutely every single person to a man said, yeah, we're desperate, trying to get the level of quality we need on a time frame. You know, we're not able to do it. So we started speaking to Mimaki and some competitors and looked at offerings and what we could do. And we made the decision on the Mimaki because of ease of use, you know, sort of how quick it was to produce materials, looking at 35 meters an hour, which, considering our other vinyl printing machine does 7 meters an hour, we knew that we would be able to, you know, scale up and get quality products out in a really short period of time. So we did a business case for the Mimaki and for a Zune cutter to our board. And now when you consider it is a national pandemic or a global pandemic going on, our board saw that, yeah, it would be something that would help us as an organisation get through it, and importantly help some of our clients, who were people like the National Health Service in Scotland, infrastructure clients, the prison service. So we made that decision, we did the business case and brought those products to the factory. Now, we made the sales call, and within 3 weeks we had it on site, and a week later we were producing COVID-19 signs for hospitals in Scotland. So we produced them for the National Health Service, we produced them for the National Distribution Centre to keep their staff safe. So that's the National Health Service Distribution Centre, so that they could get medical equipment out to hospitals really quickly, making sure their staff was safe. We advise them now, we're one of the leading advisors on COVID-19 signage, what's requirements. You know, we sit with, you know, on a regular basis, I sit and look at floor plans and give advice on, you know, what signage they need, you know, sort of what floor signs they should be doing, what wall signs, you know, sort of all the information. Within the first month, we had produced over £50,000 worth of COVID-19 signage.
Wow.
So an incredible amount of slack, which we would not have delivered, we wouldn't have been in that market. And since then, we've won far more contracts. So yeah, it's been fantastic for us. It's made that our veterans feel that they're on the front line, because they're helping people to get back to work. And from a mental health benefit, that's really important. You know, sort of we work with people with PTSD, with high anxiety levels, and for them to know that they're helping other people to go back to a safe environment is really important. So it's been fantastic. It's been really good. So something positive is something that could really have put our business at risk. And we're now...
It's great, right, Michelle, that you can bring such a value add, and then that we can deliver the machine, and that you are so successful as a company, right? That is really, I'm really happy to hear that.
No, it's been wonderful, and we were delighted with the service, and you know, the training involved. Our team feel very confident. I expected them to be going back and asking questions, you know, sort of to do this, but the training was very sleek, and yeah, they're great. And one of our printers is a veteran who'd been long-term unemployed, joined us just before the pandemic started, and we, you know, sort of, he was furloughed, although the government didn't pay him, we paid him. And he'd never worked in print, and he is so knowledgeable, and even leads our printer, who's been in the business 30 years, on the Mimaki machine. That's how great it is to use.
Yes, that sounds really, really great. So, Michael, can you explain a little bit how you adapted your business in the COVID-19 situation?
Yeah, so obviously, as a 3D printing company, we are focused on. So firstly, we were focused on prototyping, but then actual objects, which you can do with 3D printing. So in the first place, we just stuck together and just find a way that we could help in making rapid prototypes for products, because full color printing is not something specifically that you would use for COVID prevention things. So what we figured is that we would use one of our 3D printers for just prototyping products that we figured were the right thing to do for our customers, and pilot them on our campus here in Eindhoven. So at that point, we came with something called the Hygiene Hook, which is actually expanded to that. I think it was the 1st of March when we came up with the idea of this. We saw all people making things for door handles that you could open with your elbow and things like that. So what we do best is coming up with an idea and taking that idea into a physical product within several weeks, and a product that is tested and evaluated in all kinds of different ways. So as you can see in the picture, we made lots of them. So we started
came already across many times today. Yeah, this was mentioned many times before already today.
Yeah. So at the first place, we prototyped that on the Mimaki machine, and just I think that it was just before the Corona crisis that we were speaking with Mimaki and buying a 17151 Plus, and that deal was actually already done at the point that the COVID settled in, which actually came in a very nice way, because we prototyped this this product, we partnered up with a very big cleaning company called CSU in Holland. The company provides facilitatory services for one of the biggest clients all over the Netherlands. And they decided to take this product into account and sell this to their own clients. So they were actually starting to ask us, can you print logos on top of that and things like that? So that was a very good connection to the investment that we just made to actually manufacture packaging. So with that, we did, I think, 3 or 4 more products for them that could go all the way from, for example, these hygiene hooks to products that identify whether a desk has been cleaned or whether it has not been cleaned. We prototyped and manufactured caps that were made to close corona tests, like in the tubes they do the fluids and then they close it, so the caps were all run out. So we manufactured over 20,000 of those caps. I think we manufactured over 50,000 of these hooks. We manufactured 5 or 10,000 of these switches that identify whether a desk was used or not. So this was all aside from our current business, which actually made us grow in what we do. And also define our business in the further way for the future. So what we actually discovered is that prototyping is something very valuable. Only you need to be able to act fast to take products into production, specifically in this time, because people were returning to the offices and they wanted these products. So there were literally people calling us, like, when are the hooks coming? Because we want to send the people back into the office again. And yeah, that was something very cool to experience.
Hey, Michael, which machines did you use to finish this project?
So first we used the 3D
combination of
all kinds of machines. It's good. So we used the 3D UJ to prototype. Then we used the small FDM machine to make different designs and make it a little bit cheaper, because obviously printing methods and prototyping, you want it to be cheap. At that point, we started with a definite version. So once we had a definite version prototyped on our 3D UJ and we felt comfortable with it, we got that model to be molded. We molded that all in Holland. So with a local supplier that manufactured the mold within 2 weeks. So it got carved out of metal. We injection molded, I think, 40,000 in the start. And then we used the 17151 Plus to make sure their logos were printed on top. And if the client wanted a package or something like that, we used our new CFL to cut out a custom packaged part, at least the prototype. So yeah, we used all kinds of machines from Mimaki, which is very good to have. And it was very keen to see all the combination between all kinds of different machines to eventually lead up to a very cool product.
Very nice.
I was on mute, so I was saying that we had a fluently discussion already in the panel, and that we already normally went to the second question. I'm also very happy to see my my colleague next back from the showroom, so he's also interacting now again with the panel discussion. So moving to you, Michelle, so can you tell us a little bit about your projects you've done and new opportunities you encountered during the COVID situation? And Michelle, we cannot hear you.
Apologies, I was on mute.
Yes, I did the same, no worries.
Yeah, one of the best projects that we did was we were approached by a veterans care home who had been, sort of obviously working throughout COVID-19, had really challenging times with people, being affected by the virus, a number of deaths. So it had been a really awful time for them. And they called us on a Monday and said we need screens so that we can allow people to visit their families. Now think, sort of 10 weeks on, and you're a veteran that's fought for your country. You've seen, challenging things throughout your life, but the most important thing to you is your people and your family. And they hadn't been able to see them. possibly through Windows, but if you've got, you know, an illness, it's not the same. So they asked us if we could manufacture screens, but they didn't want clear screens. They wanted privacy screens, but they wanted them branded so that people could, you know, sit in a place, in an environment, see a nice picture, an image that made them feel safe. And we produced these. We produced something like, I think there was 90 of them, full-size screens on aluminium composite, and we were able to direct print the logos on them and get them cut and delivered, you know, within a matter of days. And that meant that weekend we were able to see people visiting their families within the care homes, you know, sort of 2 very well respected and large care homes in Scotland. So that was something that meant a lot to us. We designed them, we cut the feet, you know, we were able to print them and get them out there. Not only did they look good, but they made people feel safe and secure. So that's a really important one. We were also contacted by the Scottish Prison Service to say that they needed to get, you know, sort of people out of their cells and, you know, sort of into an environment in a safe way. You know, obviously they had been out of their cells, but they needed to, you know, sort of make other areas accessible. So we produced the COVID-19 signage for them. Again, got it printed and delivered very quickly. As Michael said, it's been about, you know, sort of being dynamic within your business. You know, not saying that we can, you know, that's fine. We've got a 2-week turnaround from order. It's been order, design, delivery, you know, sort of within matters of days. So those are 2 key ones. And then hospitals, you know, sort of in the UK, I don't know about the rest of Europe. I'm sure it would be the same, that new hospitals have had to open up to help the potential issues that could arise. Thankfully, in the UK, the 2 main ones, one in London and one in Scotland, haven't been used to the scale that we thought were going to happen. But we were approached by them to say, you know, sort of, we need COVID-19 signage so that people can come here and visit and know where to go. And again, I think we got a call on a Wednesday and we delivered them on Friday. Now, you're not talking about 20 signs, you're talking about hundreds of signs, and for us to be able to print them that quickly, that's when the Mimaki machine really stepped up, and it did exactly as we had said in our business case. So yeah, those are the 3 that really stand out and that I'll remember, and I think we all felt quite good about. You know, there's been far more since, but those are the 3 that were the most important.
Great projects, great projects. What kind of steps has the government taken to support non-profit organizations like Scotland Bravest?
We've been really lucky and very well supported. The Scottish Government put up a number of grants so that you could make changes very quickly. Things like new sinks, we put in a new disabled toilet and shower room, and that was funded by the Scottish Government. And that's because people, you know, sort of those who can, a lot more people want to cycle to work. But if you've been cycling to work in Scotland, it's normally quite wet and it's windy, the weather's not great. So being able to say that you can have a shower when you get here, because it wasn't something that we, you know, is good. So, and being able to, you know, sort of keep very clean. You know, we have a disabled toilet, we've got jets, but everybody, you know, it's only one person that can be using the facilities at a time. So having that additional facility was great. So yeah, we've had quite a lot of support from, you know, sort of furlough schemes from the UK government and Scottish government, and then additional funding support to get us through it. But we've used most of that money to go towards either PPE, additional PPE that we've all had to put in place, and additional facilities for washing, etc.
Can I throw in some questions here, because we are getting in and we have Q&A later, but we got some interesting ones from our good friend Sabine here, so I would like to cut it in here. The customer list, your customer base, did it change? Let's start with Michelle, because I know a bit Michael's it's a younger company, so. The customer base since the start of the pandemic, Michelle, did you get more local companies or different kind of companies approaching you to make applications that are
no,
that you were not doing before?
No, it's been more national and public sector. We were quite lucky that we were on frameworks for signage across Scotland. There's lots of government frameworks that you can tender to be on, and we've been successful on the supported business because that's our model of business. But the majority of work that we did for the public sector was it was infrastructure signage, so motorway gantries, you know, sort of standard 30 mile an hour signs. That was the core of our business. That's where 90% of our business was. Another 10% was specialist cutting. So we've got a water jet cutter, and we do engineering products. We make specialist, you know, sort of lighting covers for offshore companies. So we do the cutting of that material. So we do, you know, sort of a range of different services, but very much at the sort of infrastructure, high-end cutting, you know, cutting sort of materials such as can be anything from a composite right the way through to dense stainless steel. When it came to manufacturing side and specialist cutting, that dropped off a cliff. That was gone. So I went out and started saying, you know, once COVID set in, we realised that our business would drop dramatically, and if we wanted to continue and have, you know, sort of be successful through this, we needed to actually speak to other people. So we actively spoke to people who we had met previously at other events, like the NHS, like the Scottish Prison Service, like SEPA, you know, sort of the environmental body in Scotland. So we actively went out to them and said, look, we could be a supplier of choice for this. You know, would there be an interest if we could deliver this? Would that help you? And absolutely, you know, sort of they came back. But when it comes to local businesses, we haven't had a lot. I think when it comes to COVID-19 signage, local businesses are more likely to consider, you know, sort of, can they print it out, you know, sort of on a piece of paper, and maybe not be thinking, you know, sort of one, long term, two, you know, sort of, is it legible, you know, sort of not be looking at the cleaning properties of it. You know, they're not looking so much at the health and safety of it, environmental impact, longevity of what, you know, COVID-19 is going to bring. This is going to be around for a long time. So yeah, it's been more large scale organizations to date that we've been working with.
Okay. What about you, Michael? I know your company is 1.5 years. Actually, half of the time of your company existence is pandemic time for you. So I don't know how much it changed your customer base, but can you see something happening with the requests you are getting, especially in the last period?
Yeah, I think that once we started, so our business was started very well thought, and we already always prepare for things like this. So things can always go wrong, and you need to make sure that you have a very broad range of different sorts of clients. And what we're actually seeing is that, for example, we work for some very large theme parks. Obviously, they were all closed, so that was no business whatsoever. Then again, we have a lot of activity in online industry, which means online assets for 3D printing, and that pretty much skyrocketed. So on one side, we lost some business, and on the other side, we gained a lot. So in general, I must say that overall impact is just the shift of focus. And yeah, it was very interesting to see that online business was moving up and physical business was moving down. That was actually the day after COVID, like the announcement that the Prime Minister made in Holland. Everything physical was gone. What is very cool to see is that for example, the theme parks asked us, together with the company that provides some other things in the theme park, to think with them on how they could like continue business whilst COVID was lasting and while their parks were closed. So we were literally steering on, for example, people that made scans in a 3D park, or in like 3D scans in the theme park years ago. They all got emails like, hey, you made a 3D scan back in the day. Do you want to order like a statue of yourself now? Which was being creative with the tools you got. So we see that now moving back towards a level that it was before. Obviously, we cannot scan as much people as we did. But yeah, at least it was very interesting to see the shift from physical to online.
Okay, but one question to both of you actually about, but let's take a bit on the COVID topic. There was a big increase, of course, in PPE equipment, let's say, so the personal protective equipment or tools. I think you both mentioned, for Michelle, it's more into the sign graphics applications and the screens and everything. For Michael, you've shown some practical equipment you can use as the hooks for opening doors. Is this still an ongoing thing? Can you see that this was an initial peak and now leveling off, or is there still a continuous request for more applications like this, or maybe more differentiating these kinds of applications? Can you both respond on that a bit?
Do you want to go first, Michael?
Yeah, I will do that. As I was talking. Good. So yeah, it's still an ongoing thing. We've seen that the holidays, so the general holidays, affected sales a bit. But actually, after holidays, things just started going back, and we still see companies being closed and now moving back. For example, at our campus, we have some very large international companies that still don't go to the office. But yes, slowly still people are returning to the office, and that's when people want the products that we, for example, manufactured.
Yeah, we're exactly the same as Michael. We're actually finding we had a bit of a quieter month in August, but our sales for September are incredible, because companies are now thinking we need to return our staff to work. Furlough payments are finishing in October in the UK, so more people have to get their staff back sooner than sort of they would possibly have liked. I don't think COVID's going anywhere anytime soon, so companies will have to continually think about what messaging that is. And yeah, the moment when companies are going back, they're possibly looking at maybe 20% of their employees to 30% of their employees returning to work on a regular basis, whereas that will grow. So the messaging again will change the more people that you have in the office. So yeah, I don't think this is going to change. Unfortunately, I would love to say that that's the end of COVID and we won't be doing anything like it, but I think we'll all be more protective of our staff, and I think we will all be looking at physical distancing for some time to come.
And I think also this perfectly fits into the question that we've got, like what have been the key trends within the industry in this year, right? So Michael, maybe you can go a little bit more deeper in this one.
I think key trend is COVID.
How do you see that? Really?
But yeah, additionally, what we've seen is that some very healthy developments in 3D printing industry, where companies are starting to share knowledge, work together to get this technology over to the people that actually need to start adapting to this. So we think that aside from just pressing a button on a printer or making sure the printer is adjusted right or anything like that, there's a lot more involved in getting something 3D printed. And I think that the COVID situation showed people that it's not pressing a button and making it finish straight away. And that also makes room for more collaboration within the whole market. And yeah, as we already know, or at least I think started this year, there was a report coming out that successful 3D printing companies should work together. I think that is now happening, which is, in my opinion, a very good development. We see that, for example, with the way that we work with you. So at Mimaki Europe, same goes with, for example, the partners that we use for cleaning things or for. So the way that people think with each other is very much improving. So I think that is the most important or the most important effect of COVID.
What about you, Michelle? What do you see the trends?
I agree with Michael. I think it's all going to be about partnership working as we go forward. New products are coming onto the market. How can we develop them? How can we work with the product developers to make sure that we get things out to our customers that our customers need and get them out quickly? I think the trend for signage will increase. I think digital printing, small-scale digital printing will decrease. Because the sort of event side industry is going to be far smaller, so there's not going to be as much as that about. But I think signage and messaging and giving people choices about their safety, sort of, and what that looks like, whether it does mean the hooks, how do we get that out, more branded stuff, how can we be involved? But I definitely, sort of, as I said last time to Michael, I think there would be a real interest in Scotland in those hooks. So it's, again, reaching out across countries, and I think the world's almost got smaller, because we're all talking to each other more.
Perfect example of collaboration, right? That's happening over here. So I think also, what is your advice to our audience for surviving this challenging time, right? Like, to sum it all up, like, Michael, could you give us a little bit of advice for the audience over here?
I think that it's a very easy answer. I think be creative and create your own opportunities. So don't sag in and just think that this is what you have to deal with. Just accept that COVID is there and it's not going away anytime short. And try to be creative in your solutions for your customers, and try to be as solution-minded as you can be.
Yeah. What about last words from you, Michelle?
I think the last words for me is look after your people. Put your people first. You'll only ever be a success if you take care of them. So the people who are surround you, your employees, your staff, your team, and your customers. It's all about taking care, and you will always be a success in that. And then everything that Michael says, pivot, do whatever, be creative, do it fast. Sort of see what's out there and look at your beachhead market, as sort of the business books would say. It's watch your market and what's ahead of you and what's coming to the left. But yeah, it's all about your people. If you can bring those on the journey and make them feel safe, you will be successful.
Great. So, like I said already, I would like to thank you first for being here and taking part of this dynamical discussion today. I think it was quite interesting. We had already questions in between because Ronald saw that coming in. So I'm just looking at him again. Any other urgent questions that we want to ask for today, or are we moving on to the last part of this session? I think, despite of the time, I think we could say that we move forward. Any questions that are being raised today, we will answer them as well in our thank you email. So again, thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Michael, for joining us today. We will move now to the last part of the session, and yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's go to the last part.
Getting used of this now that time flies when you're having fun, right, Ronald? It goes so quickly.
Yeah. So we start waking up people at the beginning, and we start check again here. We have a last opinion poll here. Do you consider investing in a machine in 2020? So let's take some time here to see how enthusiastic people are.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting to hear from our customer, Scotland Bravest, that they invest heavily during this crisis and became so successful, right? That is really amazing.
And I agree also with what Michael says, that we have to accept the situation as it is. And although it's really difficult, we have to be a product leader, I think, at this moment, to come up with new products in the market that are in demand now and differentiate, especially in these new segments.
Absolutely.
All right.
A lot of diversity here.
36%. Still investing to about 30%, maybe 36% more. Perhaps we can persuade these one using my next slide. Just as one of the last slides for Mimaki, we as a manufacturer, we have a route to market through our dealers, and we have been discussing a lot. How can we contribute? How can we help to help our customers during this period, also with investments. Michael just said being creative is one of the things. That's one of the things we'd like to do as well. We do have a Mimaki Live campaign in IP segment. We are focused on several products, mainly the UGF range, as you can see here. But we have some very nice offers, which you can get through our partner network. For the small one, we are looking at promotional items. Some of the applications have been described today, and the JFX 500 is the main product right now to print on panels and every kind of application that has to do with signage, interior design, etc. So please, if you're interested in investing in any way possible, we would like to be creative also towards you, depending on the country where you are, depending on the support that you're getting from local governments. We would like to show our flexibility as well to help you out here. So that's when it comes to our live campaign that is connected to all of these free webinars that we have done. Now, some additional information here. You will, of course, get a thank you email and a personal thank you from the team now as well. This will be sent to you. If you have any more questions, then please feel free to get in touch with us through the email address, which is mentioned here, webinar@imea.mimaki.com, or you can let us know by using our survey. The previous webinars, the previous Mimaki Live events can be rewatched through the links below. So you can see the sign graphics industry and the TA and apparel webinar. The links are published here. That takes me to the last slide of this whole session. Yeah. I still remember the first time that we had an internal meeting.
Yeah.
And say how are we going to adapt, which was just at the beginning of VESPA was supposed to be organized. And immediately, I think within five minutes, we have decided, let's go live and let's go online. And within 2 weeks after that, the first session was history. And now we're at the last.
Yeah, it feels a little bit strange, right, Ronald, that we just finalized our last session. But the good part is we will continue to become creative and to come up with new Mimaki Live Advanced series. So keep that in your mind. We will not let you go. We will continue with our digital marketing machine, and we will probably come up with even better, more improvement if it comes to digital marketing, and I'm looking forward already to it. And I feel a little bit strange, right? We worked so hard with the whole team, with the panel, but also with the people behind all of this, which you normally cannot see, but we will see them every day. And again, the audience that we don't see, but we are doing this, of course, for you guys. And yeah, we hopefully want to continue to keep the communication going and to move on as Mimaki Europe. We definitely, and with our partner ecosystem as well, we will continue to communicate and to be more creative in this difficult time. And again, from my side as well, thank you. Thank my team as well for helping out. And last words from our Mark Solomon out of the showroom, coming back to us again.
Yeah, I would like to thank the team and everybody who is behind the scenes and in the studio. Thank you.
So again, I wish you all a great day and see you soon. And stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.